Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today's guest is Sam Michelson, and he's founder and CEO over at 5Blocks. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Now, Sam, is it Michelson or Mickelson?
Michelson.
Michelson. I just want to make sure I had that right. Can't be butchering the name on the first thing out. So, man, I've been looking forward to this interview. We're going to talk about how AI views your brand and business and really what it means for your strategy online overall. But before we get into that, Sam, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Sam, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Sam, what mission matters to you?
That's a great question. Our mission, I would say, is to help empower brands and executives to take control of how they're seen digitally.
Love it. Love bringing mission-based individuals on the show to share, why they're doing what they're doing, how they're doing, and really what makes them tick, so we can all learn from that. So great having you on. And I guess just to get us kicked off here, I see the name founder, CEO, 5Blocks. Like how did all this get started for you? Were you always an entrepreneur?
No, not at all. I actually had no plans to start my own business. I work in technology. I was a product manager, project manager in different tech companies for about 10 years. And actually in about 2003, found myself out of a job. I was in a successful company, but they downsized our whole team, and I was looking for what to do. And I had a few kids, was a little hungry, and said I have to find a job. In 2003, tech wasn't the best. It wasn't the best time. The dot-com bubble had burst. There weren't a lot of jobs, and I discovered e-commerce and found out that there was opportunities in opening online store and really hustling online a little bit in terms of finding products to sell. And that led me to my first kind of entrepreneurial stint, and that was opening stores to sell cellular phones on the internet. That was the first thing that I did online.
Wow. What was it like back then for the people that have the drag and drop now, or they're creating a quick Shopify store? Like, what was it like launching a venture back then? I can't even imagine.
Well, the truth is that I was using something called Microsoft Front Page, and it was kind of like a rudimentary. It was kind of like Word for creating a website. So you'd create each page individually and link them together. It was very, 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 very basic. But at that time, actually, people were okay with that. You could build a website that had a few pictures and a couple of links and a little bit of text on it. And in fact, there was something authentic about it. When you had a website and you could see it was handcrafted, and then you'd call someone, or you'd email it with their own email address, not like a customer service at.
Oh, that's true, because this is the early days. That's what I wanted, some nostalgia here. You're right. I remember when I'd order something, or back then I'd be like, my parents would be like, you can't put a credit card online. Like, don't do that, Adam. Like, they're gonna get our information. That's back in the day for the young people that are listening that are like, why would they not worry about a credit card, right?
Yeah, it was really, and people, and they liked it. It was a transitional time because people were just starting to buy things on the internet, and getting comfortable with that. And it was really good when you'd hit, and specifically there was an advantage to being a small shop online that doesn't exist now. Now I think it would be very difficult, I think, to open a store online where I think that the Amazons of the world and some of the other big players have a big advantage over you, because it's just so, you feel comfortable with their customer service, and you feel, and so to go to a specialty site, I think now to be a successful a website, you have to have that, and you're small, you would need to have the authenticity where you're buying from a particular expert. You're buying a product from a company that specializes in that product, and the picture of the person, of the owner, is on the site, and you can call them up and you can text with them. So that it was like that at the time, and I loved it. It was really, people would call on the phone, they'd ask us about the phones. We were selling cellular phones. They would ask us about cellular phones and the plans, and eventually, it built up. I started hiring some people, and we built a few additional stores. But the journey, I thought I just keep selling cell phones on the internet, my job. But what happened was very quickly it became clear that everybody could be your competitor. It was so easy to set up a web page that we were competing with lots of people, and there was always someone else who could sell it for $1 less, and then it wasn't a long-term business.
So where did you go from cell phones then? What was next?
So we started doing some consulting, again, kind of almost by accident. We were, selling stuff on the internet. And then one day I just was wondering, I wonder what the most expensive keyword on the internet is. If you were doing paid advertising, what click would cost the most? And it turned out, it may be true now as well, it's always lawyer related, those keywords. And at the time, the most expensive click on the internet was mesothelioma, asbestos cancer. And it was because people who are suffering from that condition are looking for medical help, but they're also maybe looking for lawyers who can help them get some sort of settlement. And so I ended up kind of researching and figuring out why people were paying so much for that, and thinking about whether maybe I could help create a website to help those people get the information that they were looking for, and maybe I ended up kind of finding some really interesting ways to get traffic at that time. At that time, the ads were all driven by keywords, but if you misspelled, any kind of misspelling was not counted. So you could create misspellings of keywords, target those for ads, and then redirect them to the lawyers or doctors who are looking for those clicks. So it was kind of a foray into a little bit of consulting. Started doing some consulting for a law firm. And I think that got me thinking, like, I could offer services to other people. I don't have to just have my own online presence. And then the thing that really pushed it to where I am now is that the cell phone business I'd created, which was very successful, started to have, occasionally we would get a negative review online or something negative, and we would be like, what's going on? We need to make sure that this person is happy. How do we solve this problem? And it turned out that sometimes they weren't really clients. They would be like, a competitor who just posted something about us, or someone who thought they bought from us and they didn't. And so we realized that you can only go so far, trying to solve a problem after the fact. If people aren't happy, trying to make them happy, and you really need to protect and build reputation to protect your business. And so that realization led us to, first trying to find the right methods to.
What days was that, by the way, just to date it a little bit, because you were thinking about brand online pretty early still. Like you were thinking about brand. We weren't talking about like brand. I wasn't talking about it back then. Brand identity, or thinking about like online part of it. Roughly what year was that? Roughly.
I think around 2009.
Yeah, that's early. That's right after I was thinking about. No, I was thinking about the market at that point, how everything just blew up. Post 2008. It's okay. I'm not laughing, but I am. But oh my gosh, that was something. Continue. I was just curious on what time period.
Yeah. Maybe it was a bit before that. It may have been 2007, 8. Yeah, but
it was around that probably 2007-ish, because it was probably before. Because after everything blew up, you were probably thinking of some other things. But like,
it was a bit. You're right. It was a bit earlier than that, actually.
Had to have been.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue, please. Yeah.
What happened was that once we kind of set our mind on building up our own reputation, so that our own web stores would be more successful. It was so interesting to me that I actually started to lose interest in e-commerce, and I got really enthralled with digital reputation, and realized that there's so much vulnerability. Our own successful business could be hurt so much just by a bad article or a bad review, and it didn't make any sense to me. And then I started looking at big brands, at different individuals, and realizing people have so much vulnerability in their online presence. Most companies, most people are not thinking about, how do I bolster my appearance online? They're just thinking, I want to be number one when you search my terms.
For sure, yeah.
I want to make sure my website shows up. I'm worried about my social media. Those are all really important things, but no one's going to do business with you or work with you without Googling you and finding out more about you. And so we need to make sure that you put your best foot forward. If you're going to an interview, then you make sure to have a clean shirt on. And so your Google search results, that's your front office. That's your business card. And so we realized that there's so little knowledge and so little service around that field. We started just reaching out to PR firms and that we knew who from the business, and asking them, is this a need that you or your clients have? And it just grew organically from there, just
Wow.
helping brands one by one take more control of their online presence.
Why do you think, and this always kills me, and I like talking to brand guys like you, or even retail, like people that are selling a lot in retail or otherwise. Why do you think that people think that others make buying decisions differently than they do? If you're going to buy something and the first thing you do is Google it to see if you trust the company and or otherwise, or if you like the brand or this or that, why would you think that the people that are buying your products don't do the exact same thing? That's the question.
That's, I think one of the hardest things to do is to put yourself in someone else's position.
Mm.
We really have a lot of difficulty putting ourselves on the other side of the table and saying, wait, what would I be looking for?
Yeah.
And when we do, and I think, and there's a danger on that side also. When you do that, you say, well, everyone's going to be just like me, and that's
Yeah.
not true either. So I think that the difficulty is figuring out who are the different stakeholders, how are
Mhm.
they going to evaluate, and then I think it takes humility as well. You need to kind of
Oh,
realize
for
that
sure.
you're going to probably be wrong. Like, well, they might be looking at it this way, and then we learned a lot from our clients. We constantly learn by talking to our partners and our clients themselves, and asking them and saying, give me honest feedback. Is this something that is working for you? Or when your searchers are looking for you, what are they telling you? What are the conversations that they're having?
Mm.
Where are they finding, so I think, like, information is currency in that sense. Just having all the conversations with the people who really know, the searchers themselves, the companies
Yeah.
themselves.
And so now you're an early day brand guy. Like some people, they've been paying attention to the brand, some haven't, and now AI gets thrown into the mix. Like what happens now?
Yeah. So fast forward, we spent about 15 years going from maybe 6 or 7 people to where we are now. We're about 60 people.
Yeah.
We never
Congrats, that's amazing. You like starting
yeah,
from it started with just yourself or a couple people. Am I wrong on that? Like,
yeah, exactly. It was me. It was just me first, and no capital. The whole thing was a
and you
shoestring.
bootstrapped it. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah.
That's a huge achievement. That's
It was
amazing.
it was bootstrapped, but part of it was because I'm risk averse, and I just didn't want. I had seen with the .com bubble
Yeah.
that everybody was living on other people's money, and you don't make the right decisions when it's not your money.
Yeah.
I feel like we grew much slower because we didn't have the capital, but we also, if you're just learning to drive, you want to drive slow, because if you make any
Yeah.
mistakes, they're not going to be as influential or catastrophic. So
Yeah.
so when we were always moving slow. So if we made a mistake, it would cost us thousands of dollars, but not tens of thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
And whereas when you're growing fast and you make the wrong move, you've put lots of money, you've hired people, and that's why you see, I think, a lot of times young businesses that don't survive. So I don't think, you look at the statistics of people, the percentage of people who start a startup or a tech startup and actually succeed past year 3 or year 5. I think that the reason why those numbers are not very high is because there's pressure to move quickly, because you're going to run out of money,
Yeah.
or your
That's a
investor
thing. Yeah.
wants to see when their payback is going to come. So I didn't have that pressure since I was the investor,
Yeah.
and I was investing the money that we were making. So we grew as much as we could, and that meant very slow at first. But anyway, we spent the last about 15 years getting it up to about 60 people. The whole focus of our business and reputation had all been around Google, and it's been very successful. We work with a lot of well-known brands and executives, but there was something missing the whole time, which was that there's only one search engine. Meaning, as much as Bing and Yahoo and all these other ones over the years have tried to make a dent, there was nothing really else going on in terms of search. AI is exciting for that reason for us. It's a new paradigm of searching. It's not another search engine.
For sure.
AI, the generative AI, kind of a ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity, all these AI overviews, these different engines that are coming on the scene. They're super exciting because they're new ways to search that actually get you much closer to what you're looking for very quickly. So it's very exciting, I think, as a researcher, as a searcher, as a people who are working in the digital world. This is super exciting. So much you can do. It's like having an assistant helping you do a bunch of tasks very quickly. But it's also from a reputational perspective. There's some challenges, because you can, if I search a brand, I search your brand online, you're an ice cream shop and I search you online. Well, your Google results are oftentimes going to be your own website, your social media, maybe some local news you've done if you did a fundraiser, and it's all kind of most people are going to stay on page one of Google. So as long as nothing has gone terribly wrong, your first page of Google will be pretty good, and most people are just going to they're going to search Bob's ice cream shop, and that's pretty much their search experience. Maybe they'll ask like jobs, careers ad or jobs ad, or they'll look at reviews or something. But AI comes along, it changes the paradigm, because in AI you don't write Bob's ice cream shop. Instead, you start saying, what is the best ice cream shop in Peoria, Illinois, or what? How do I know whether
now it's more of a conversation, right?
Exactly. And I can ask much more complex questions, and I can also expect to get much deeper answers. I think it changes what your expectations of the search engine. In Google, you expect it to give you some websites that'll help you get a little closer to what you were looking for. You don't go into Google and say, I'm looking for a flight from Phoenix to Seattle, and what's the best pricing, what's the best day. Like, it's just going to show you Expedia, and you're going to go look for yourself. But in AI, we're already getting to the point where you can ask very specific questions and expect to get answers with sources that take you all the way there. And for reputation, that's going to be huge. Like, we work with some universities, for example, and the most important thing for them is enrollment. They're very, very conscious of the fact that they're the students who are choosing schools have all the tools at their hands. So when you're looking, you're deciding between a couple of different schools, the ability to use an AI to say, well, compare these schools for me on the following criteria. ChatGPT, Claude, all these engines will quickly do that. And you need to know, if you're one of these universities, how are we showing up? Are we considered to be the top school for this particular topic? Are we being represented properly?
Would you say that now that AI is involved, would you say that kind of the stakes for your brand identity have gone up because and the reason I think about this, by the way, correct me if I'm off, but I feel like it's pulling from so many other different sources. So now it's not just going to be that simple Google result. It's like whether or not you're even a part of the conversation becomes a little bit more distinct versus once upon a time when it was just the keyword or something else like that. Now it's a conversation. It's pulling from so many different data sources. Am I understanding any of that right? Or clarify for me, please?
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think that when in the world of Google, when you search a brand, you almost always get the brand's website at the top, and social media, and for individuals, if you have so much more control. There is no page 2 in AI, meaning if you search in ChatGPT, you get information, and that information could be coming, as you said, literally could be coming from 100 different sources. And your own website is not necessarily going to be prioritized like it was in Google. So I think that the promise is that if there's lots about your brand and lots about you as a person, you've done many things, they're going to get woven into your online reputation and the questions people are asking. But if the real danger will be for brands and executives who are not who don't share enough information, who have not been we run into some people like, oh, I'd rather not be online at all. Our business, we're B2B business. People that need to know about us, they'll find us. And I think that in a world of AI, I don't think you really don't get to be anonymous at all. If people are asking a question about your industry, you want to be in the answer, or you won't be anywhere. If people are asking about you or your brand, you want to make sure that the answers they're getting are going to be sourced from the right sources. And so that's going to necessarily mean talk more, share more information. Content is going to be even more important.
Wow, that's so interesting. So one of the things we do here is we work with a lot of people building their personal brands, and we have a personal brand accelerator. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of really, and people would be surprised, but a lot of really high level executives and entrepreneurs have zero online presence. And it's like, and because of what you just said, we're kind of serving ahead of the curve on a lot of that stuff. And we've been doing this for a long time, way before AI. But then all of a sudden, what we became was very popular for already having been in that space, and it just started to grow. And we get these inquiries, and it was interesting because it's like, well, what are we doing? Some different like lead gen, advertising, whatever. No, it's people like yourself, and then the others that are like all of a sudden not showing up in the conversation. And it's like, well, why because you haven't built a personal brand. You're not out there, nobody knows who you are. And now it's going to be even more important, because especially for executives, like, let's say, even not even the entrepreneur side of it, now what if you're using, going back to what I said about user behavior, if you're using Chat GPT or whatever you're using to like get your information all day long, then how about the hiring or the headhunter or all of those other people that have your next, C-level position? Guess what? They're using it too. And if you're not in the conversation, we're creatures of habit. Is somebody right now, if they have the aptitude, and if then it makes sense, are they going to use AI to help them write that email, and then they're going to fix it and edit it and make it their own voice or do what they have to do? Or are they going to sit there and start from scratch? Come on. Like, if you're not starting from scratch and you're doing a certain thing, so are other people. So if you're leaving yourself out of the conversation, over time, that's going to be a problem, because now, in my opinion, we're all storefronts. We always talked about being like the media side, like, we're all our own media outlet, all of that. But now we're literally our own storefronts, looking for our own megaphones just to be part of regular conversations in our industry. So I think it's interesting. Sam, I want to jump around a bit here now. So we talked a bit about, obviously, your history, how you got started. We talked about some of the things in the early days of brand, how AI is going to affect it. So what do we do? I know, like tracking, analyzing, like what do we do? How do we work through this?
Sure. So our approach to reputation, I think that, well, I'll start by saying that the regular approach that people have to controlling reputation has been largely been try to game the system. It sounds like the opposite of what you guys do. You guys are actually helping executives, I think, build their a narrative online that it's deliberate.
We can't make up stuff. We're giving them who they are. We're just letting the world know how amazing they are. That's all we're doing. We don't make stuff up. You're exactly accurate.
I think that's the right approach, and that's what in our business we talk about it as like kind of entity optimization. If you're a brand, if you're a person, figuring out how to shape your narrative built out of all the right digital properties, so that people get a complete story when they search you. But the state of the art, unfortunately, for a digital reputation seems to have always been manipulation. It's always been like Google shows this thing you don't want, so how do you shove it out of the way? And then people are then in that, unlike what you're describing, people then create content solely for the purpose of knocking something else out. It's not telling a story. It's running interference with Google, and that I think that's that approach goes completely. It's a bad approach for Google, but it's untenable when it comes to AI, because when it comes to AI, these large language models, when you ask them a question, tell me about this individual, or tell me about this brand, or you say compare this brand to that brand, as you said earlier, they draw on a lot of different types of content or sources. They will draw on your own website if that's available. If you have a website and it covers the different the topic, it will actually draw from your own website, because your website will be jam-packed, hopefully with good content. It'll also draw on sources like Wikipedia. Will draw on sources like Bloomberg profiles, Crunchbase, different types of profiles. If you're someone it's movie related, you'll be from IMDb. If it's something that's private equity related, it'll be from PE Hub. There's different websites that will, for pharmacy companies, it'll come from Fierce Pharma. There's different sources that will be the main ones for different industries. But what a brand, I think, has to do in this scenario is exactly what you suggested, which is we need to first know what the AIs are saying about me. So start by going to ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, the different AI engines that people are starting to use, and start doing those searches and looking when I look at my brand, or I look at the topics or the areas that I want, or me as a person, what information does the AI have? And what you're looking for is it accurate? Is it, is there a vacuum, meaning that AI has no idea who I am or who my brand is? That's a problem. Are they getting me confused with someone else, which could be very important to know? Is there incorrect information? In the early days, you'd look up 5 blocks. They tell me about 5 blocks. It would just make up. ChatGPT would go, 5 blocks is a law firm in Los Angeles. Like, it would just make things up. Now I think that they're getting better, and now that a lot of the AI models are tied into the live web, when they look up a brand or an individual, they kind of check it with reality. So if you have a good corporate website, if you have a Wikipedia, it will check with that. So what's happening is that people are asking questions. The AI model is tapping its own kind of model, and then also checking the live web and starting to put something together. You need to know what that is for the topics that you care about, and then the next step is to figure out where if it's anything that's either missing, incorrect, or negative, or made up. Then I think that you need to try to start to kind of research and figure out, why is it doing that? Where is it because it's a vacuum? Is it a confusion? Is it finding some article? So there's some research involved. And the last step is plotting and planning. How am I going to make sure that the different AI models find all that information about me? So it's really not that different from the kind of work that you do with the executives in Google, or the kind of work we do with companies as well, where it's planning a deliberate, what do I want people to see about me or about my brand? And then figure out, where does all that content need to live? Where should it live? In what format should it be?
How does the tracking and analytics play a part? Like, how does that piece work, like the tracking side?
So I mean, look, there's different, you can track AIs by actually going and doing the searches on your own every day. You can we've actually developed a platform called AIQ, which we're going to be rolling out soon. And it'll actually, you can define a topic or a few topics around your brand, and it will do those searches for you every day and then collate the results. So I think that we don't know of any other tools that are doing that. I assume that there will be others as well. It seems like people are going to really need to know, just in the same way that that people want to know, how am I doing in Google, or what is what's happening to me in social media. People, I think, are going to care, what are the AI saying about me? How am I doing against my competitors? So I would say this. People should start.
Man, I love it. We're all going to be asking that question. What is the AI saying about me today, Sam? Come on, man.
It's fun. It's funny. I'll take it a step further. I would actually say that if you think about influencers, right, that you can think about, in every area, there are people who are the most influential. Certainly when it comes to social media, you have people, if they talk about a product, that product's going to go through the roof. If they are down on a product, that's going to be bad for the product. The same is true in media. If you ever, a particular network or reporter that is talking about a topic or an area that can really be influential. I think that the most influential, as we go into the next 6 months or a year, I think the most influential influencers are actually going to be ChatGPT. It's going to be these different Gemini. It's going to be Lambda. These different AIs, because actually what they think is going to end up impacting all kinds of, if they have, and there are things that are true. If you start to prod and poke at the AIs, they have political opinions. Like you start to ask them, you see that they tend to lean this way or that way. If you start asking them questions that are even like hot topics in society, the AIs have been trained in certain ways, and they will tell you, oh, we don't agree with that position. You ask it about a hot topic, it will tell you what is right, what is wrong. So I think that starting to understand that AIs have biases, and I don't actually believe that anyone got up in the morning and said, I'm going to program in the biases. But I think that the way that you build these models is you train them on vast amounts of data. You train them on newspapers and magazines, and if you train them on things that are slanted in a particular way, then you're going to get AIs that are slanted in that same particular way. So and not all of them are going to be slanted in the same way. I'm sure. I'm positive that whatever Elon Musk is, the Grok and the different AIs that he's working on, I'm sure that they're going to be slanted in a way that's appropriate for Elon Musk. And whereas otherwise be otherwise. So I think that we're getting to a world where actually these huge influential AIs are going to start having an impact. I mean, I'll go. We're talking about how AI affects search, but if you're using Microsoft Office, you could have Copilot actually inside of there. Meaning, Copilot Microsoft is an AI that actually will appear within your Microsoft Office. And I don't know how far away we are from writing a document and writing about a particular company and having the AI say, well, you didn't mention their lawsuit, or trying to fact check what you wrote and maybe biasing, starting to give you bias in a different, or people are using AIs to help them write. So I ask it, can you give me, write a paragraph about this? Well, whatever it believes to be true, whether it is objectively true or not, is going to start making its way into your emails, into your documents, into your PowerPoints.
Yeah.
So I think this is tip of the iceberg. Yes, people will use AI for search, but I think that we're augmenting our thinking with it. We're going to start seeing through the lens of AI. So not knowing, now imagine your brand or you're an individual, and people out there are going to be, utilizing the internet, writing documents, doing searches about you, about your brand, and through AIs that have the wrong idea about you, are thinking that you're in a different industry than you're in, or think that you're located somewhere else. These are going to be massive, challenges, I think, and so it behooves us to kind of pay attention and figure out what to do.
Well, Sam, let me tell you, first off, this has been so much fun. I knew you were going to bring the knowledge today. I knew you were going to bring a lot of perspective, and I knew you've been a brand guy since before I knew how much brand even mattered. So thank you. Like, you dropped so many jewels, so many gems today. That being said, what's next? I mean, what's next for you? What's next for the company? What's next?
Yeah. So the big, we are all in on understanding how AI is impacting brands, and so I think that the efforts that we've been putting in recently have been toward creating software that that we believe will be really useful. So we're hoping to launch in the coming months, maybe the next month or so, software that will allow you, or a platform that will allow you to track how your brand is being seen in AI. We'd like to go, so we're still going to provide services to brands for their digital reputation, but I think that we'd like to reach a lot more companies and individuals, and do that at a price point that's going to be much more appropriate for maybe small and medium businesses. Whereas until now, we've really been focused much more on larger businesses and very hands-on kind of work. So I think that's our future. I think that as AI develops, we'll continue to develop with it, and hopefully continue to provide tools so that people can feel empowered and not. We don't want the AI to run us over. We don't want Google to run away with our reputation. So we need to harness it. You kind of want to get on the beast rather than have the beast run you over.
Yeah, I love it. Sam, if somebody wants to follow up and learn more about 5blocks, how do they do that?
Just best way is to hit our website, 5blocks.com. We're also a little bit pretty active on LinkedIn. You can learn more there, and then just drop us a line.
Awesome. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll put the links in the show notes so you can just click on them and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're putting out new content, new interviews, and new ideas to hopefully help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe button. And Sam, man, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.